morning. It's another beautiful day right here in the city of Port Harcourt. This is Atlantic Television Network, and it's time for Atlantic Blowout, a show that we get to talk about topical issues. It's actually a syndicated live program of the network featuring chit-chatting and conversations on special interest topics, news events and stories through correspondence report, expert opinion and stakeholders analysis. Good morning to you, Divine.
Good morning, Annie Jackson.
How are you doing today?
Very well, thank you.
Are you ready? Let's do this.
Let's do this. Now to the headlines. On electricity, federal government reduces band aid electricity tariff to 206.80 kobo naira.
And on foreign exchange, FG plans to delist naira from P2P platforms.
On business, federal government to release 50,000 naira grants by May 31st.
And on security, stop provoking armed personnel. Lagos Police PRO.
We'll go on a short break, and when we're back, the conversation on Atlantic Blowout begins.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
Every day our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what they blow.
I have fought very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
That is amazing. Honourable human
On the point of order.
Honourable
They are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
With a minimum supply of 20 hours daily. In a notice to its customers on Monday, Ikeja Electric stated, please be informed of the downward tariff review of our Band A feeders from 225 naira per kilowatt to 206 naira 80 kobo per kilowatt, effective 6th May 2024, with guaranteed availability of 20 to 24 hours supply daily. The tariff for Band C, B, C, D, and E remains unchanged. Recall that the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NEC, had increased the tariff paid by Band A customers from 68 naira per kilowatt to 225 naira. Band A customers are expected to receive between 20 and 24 hours of electricity supply daily. Those under B enjoy 16 to 20 hours of power supply, and those in Band C receive 12 to 16 hours daily. NEC also says that Band B and A customers make up just 15% of total electricity customers in the country. And additionally, these customers would no longer enjoy government subsidy on electricity. Andy, there have been a reduction in the tariff increase that was previously stated or reported. What do you have to say about this story?
No, I just think that the government is playing ping pong with the Nigerian people.
Why?
To the running, of the economy. Very tangential to making the economy grow. But you see, in Nigeria, what we have come to see, particularly with the APC government and the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's government, is that they are thinking, they just sit down and say, okay, what do we do? How do we starve the Nigerian people? How do we asphyxiate the Nigerian people? How do we take, in a manner of speaking, breath out of the Nigerian people? So, okay, what are we increasing next? We are increasing electricity tariff. What are we doing next? We are removing subsidy from fuel. What are we doing next? We are doing this. And you see, the fault is not theirs, essentially. It is ours. That Nigerians are sitting down and they are watching these things play out, understanding that it's going to have economic spiral or halo effect on every other thing. Imagine, for instance, that certain categories of hospitals were under this 20-hour Band A list. Band A. And they were made to pay this much money. Recently, I was discussing with somebody who is a senior colleague in Rivers State. I'm in the medical field, right? Yeah, right? So, and he was saying that if I saw the leap when they did the computation, the calculation of what they will be, the people they categorize as the Band A people are people that are like the hospitals and those who are in manufacturing. If you starve them of electricity, what becomes? Increase it to 223 or 229 per kilowatt. What was it? The same thing they have done with petrol. And you see, what is irritating for me, what irks me to heavens, is how the Nigerian people react to these things. And I'm wondering if we are a special species. People created not on a Monday to a Sunday in heaven. We're created, on a different day other than Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. How that the government keeps pushing us to the wall. They keep taking from us. Let me tell you, medically, if you wanted to take blood from a patient, you conducted a test that is known as packed cell volume, PCV, a full blood count, and one of the components of it is PCV. You know why we did that? We did that to be able to be sure that this patient has the capacity to give out this much volume of blood. If we found that after having done the PCV, the patient did not have that capacity to deliver it, we said to the patient, thank you so much for, the willingness to give to your relative or the willingness to donate blood. We appreciate you, but if we did this, you probably would die, right? I'm being extreme. This is exactly what the government does not do in Nigeria. We do not check to see whether the threshold, the survival threshold of the people have been broken. Beyond what is imaginable. There are people today who, as a result of the increment of petroleum products, have gone from, if there was anything like middle class, have gone from middle class to poverty, to wretchedness in this country. Yet the Nigerian people are still, hands at akimbo, folding their hands and saying, whatever will be, will be. So God is going to come and help us.
What do you suggest, in your own opinion, that the Nigerian people...
We have to push advocacy beyond the limit. We have to get to the National Assembly. We have to get to the NEC. Why is it that in this country, if we wanted to, fix a problem, we did not fix it? We created more problem. I have problem with heat. I have problem with so much heat. I cannot stand the heat. And he's applying for the job of a cook. He's applying for the job of a chef. is applying for the job of someone who stays in the kitchen all the time. If you knew you did not have the capacity to ingeniously fix the Nigerian economy, there were people who were willing to do it now. If Peter Obi was willing to do it, and as I'm picking up, people will say that Andy is pro Peter Obi. I'm saying that we must get our best forward.
What are we expecting now, Andy? What are we expecting now?
Now.
This has happened.
Now.
This is what we have on the table.
Now,
yes,
Nigerians must say to the government that we are not even willing to take this price, because we understand that if you increase petroleum products, you increase electricity tariff, then the kind of inflation we are going to see around every other thing will be so alarming that you may not be able to manage it. See all of the adjustments and readjustments that they are doing with the CBN monetary and fiscal policies. It will tell you that the government is like dancing under the rain. They are completely oblivious, unaware of how to fix the Nigerian economy. Today they say, oh, we are stabilizing the dollar. We have not spent money from the external reserve, and Nigerians are looking, and Nigerians are they are bamboozled by all of this. That they are so-called stabilized. You will see that they were actually taking money from the external reserve. The truth of the matter is that this government is completely confused, like the previous government. And I said it with the President Muhammadu Buhari's government, that you are going to leave Nigeria worse off. Today, let it be put on record that even the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's government will leave Nigeria worse off than it was before even President Muhammadu Buhari came into, or after President Muhammadu Buhari came into government. What you needed to do now, what you needed to do now is to see how, you can look for methodologies, protocols. And I will give you a typical example. Why don't you do a PPP with...
Next story. Before we do, joining us at the moment is a royal chief who is also a public analyst. He is no other than Royal Chief Magnus Edo. Welcome, sir, and thank you for coming on Atlantic Blowout this morning.
Thank you for having me this morning.
All right, we were talking about a story stating the recent reduction in the hike of the electricity tariff.
Customers.
Yes, just by A customers now. And Andy is of the opinion that more can be done. What do you think about this reduction?
For me, I don't see any reductions whatsoever, because we have seen cases where fuel prices go up and down. At the end of the day, they will still get to where they are going. So they have their interior motive. The presidency have their interior motive. They've not revealed to Nigerians, because ban A, 24 hours, 20 hours, this and that. At the end of the day, we won't get what Nigerians or federal government. We see that they are already guilty about that. So if there will be power, constant power supply, that is where I'm taking it from. There will be constant power supply. I think the reduction is a slice, it's just a slice. It's not like what we are expecting. People will be stabilized. But for me, that reduction is nothing to welcome. It's not a welcome idea at all. It's not a welcome idea. Like Andy was rightly mentioned, when you put a spare spec in what is happening in the Ministry of Works, I must commend the minister, because he knows he's a professional. So I think they need to review some certain aspects of that sector so that we get it right.
So you're saying that this reduction will not make any difference?
What is the difference? There's no difference. If they generalize it, I can say, okay, it's a welcome development. Let's watch from there. But for me, ban A only, it doesn't affect the... It's not a welcome development.
Now, remember that most ban A customers are usually business owners. These customers are business owners. And somehow, this reduction is expected to make some sort of impact in the economy. Do you not think that this...
There's high importations of generator into the country. The importation is on the high side. We are still patronizing those that are bringing generator into this country. So electricity, where does it work? Do you run, are you on another external power supply in these stations?
Talking about capacity now, which Annie mentioned earlier, we spoke to someone who is under the Band A customers segment, and he stated they got the notice from Band B, they were moved to Band A, upgraded, but then at the end of the day, they're not getting the...
To their office there at Moscow Road with a few other people and said to them, enough is enough. You know what they did? They gave me estimated a meter and backdated and told me that all those bills I did not pay when they were giving me estimated bill, they hung it on that meter. That every time I paid money, they deducted it. This 419 that we see in government is, for me, continuing because the Nigerian state and the Nigerian people seem helpless. You see, we don't have a culture. If you went abroad, you would see that the people have got a culture of protest. If you wanted to demolish certain things that did not even directly affect them, maybe it affected animals, you saw a community that loved that kind of animal coming out to put forward positions around why that should not be done. And they mobilize adequately, hold government, you know, on their jugular to ransom and say, we are not going to do this. Government will call them and they begin to have conversations. I'm talking about communities of, you want to do something that will affect wildlife and all that. Here, they are affecting the cost of your children. Now look at what even you were asking us, that they have reduced the price. Is that really reduction of price?
Isn't it?
No, it's not reduction of price. What was it before they pushed it to 227? What was it now? The 227 had not even started taking effect. So, if we wanted to even play with words and English, should we call this reduction of tariff? Ain't no reduction of tariff. It was a certain...
Remember, one with gun is majority. Chief, what do you make of this comment?
This is a general advice, so Nigerians. It's a general advice to Nigerians. Like he mentioned, one with gun is majority. To me, it's not news. We know. You that hold the triggers, if it commands you, you obey it. But at what extent can we grow to this level in this country that we don't have a decent police officers? What has the police officer done that will provoke an individual to disarm a police officer, well-trained police officers? So that is why we are emphasizing on character training. Train your personnel on how to behave on the road. And they will give you that back, that respect. But when you are abusing your uniform, abusing the gun, people will be tempted to caution you. It is out of caution. Shoot now, let's see whether you shoot. And in some cases, they have been killing a lot of people and nobody talks. They have been killing a lot of innocent Nigerians and nobody talks. Over the week, we've been hearing about people crying in some part of this state where some gunmen came and killed some innocent youths. Where was the provocation started from? So for me, the message should go back to the officers that don't behave like people that had been trained on the road or wherever they are carrying gun. Nobody should joke with someone that is carrying gun, including the criminal that's carrying gun. You don't need to joke. And remember, if they fire gun, those that the bullet is going to kill, you don't even hear the sound. Before you realize that there is a bullet, you are dead. So you don't threaten an armed police officer. I'm advising all of us, don't threaten a police officer with gun. You are armless. But there are methods you can approach issues, not to provoke someone with gun. They've been killing.
Laughable, annoying. If this were to be in civilized society, Nigeria should be calling for his resignation immediately. How do you come and you speak in this manner? And you say a woke people, you were saying to them that they should not provoke
armed personnel.
In the first place. Let me tell you, even to Ghana, I'm not going to call countries that, are much more civilized than Nigeria, right? And their people are much more civilized also than the Nigerian people. And I'm saying it on air, and I will give reasons for that. In Ghana, you hardly find their police officers carrying guns. I'm not telling you what I was told. I have traveled to over 11 African countries. 11 African countries and still counting, including Kenya. And I have not found any of the police officers in these countries. In Rwanda, you know what happens? They are stationed at certain places with their walkie-talkie from certain time to certain time. You find them there. They are watching everything happening within their perimeter, and once it's time for them to exit, you find the next person come quickly and take the position. That person is relieved, and that's how they run it 24 hours. I'm telling you what I experienced. In some cases, I waited it out. 1 a.m. you found police officers still at those positions. I'm paraphrasing, this is exactly what I just said. Don't provoke anybody who is carrying gun because you are woke. Otherwise they can kill you. When they kill you, you are gone. And there is a president in this country that has heard this. There are people in the Nigerian police force that are in their committee of whatever it is that they call it, that supervise these police officers, that are not going to call them to say withdraw that statement immediately. Nigerians are even talking about it today, and the way they are talking about it every radio station is as though the man has spoken something really fantastic. Truth be told, every police officer that is even carrying gun on the streets speaks to the fact that there's something wrong with the Nigerian society.
Talking about something wrong with the being wrong with the Nigerian society.
Yes.
Let's look at these countries that you have mentioned. Don't forget the level of the state of insecurity that we have in Nigeria.
Did you have worse insecurity in Nigeria than you did in Rwanda? Should I take you back to Rwanda as recent as less than 20 years ago? Let me tell you, everything about life is cause and effect.
If the people began to change, right,
yes,
it means that it's no longer
is constitutionally bound for him to carry that gun. But my concern is that training of a police officers. If you go to Abuja, you see the way police behaves is quite different from the one in
How do they behave?
Fine and good. If you enter into Aso Rock, you will see decent police officers. Very decent, and if we have foreigners coming to this country, they think that is how all police behaves.
What do you mean by decent?
Decent in their characters, your approach to persons, your approach to issues, your response to issues. They don't just think the way you want to operate. You operate in the confines of the law. For instance, we have different categories of police officers, but the statement generalized on guns and officers don't provoke the police officers carrying gun. But my concern, what must have led to that provocations? Is it not the attitude of that officer that might have provoked those woke Nigerians to react? We talked about the NSAS issues, and then you see protesters being fired with live ammunitions. Can that be called? It is the right of every person to protest, peaceful protest. We have seen cases where they fire bullets at protesters. Who had been punished for taking such actions? Does it mean that protesters are provoking where a very senior government officials were fired with live ammunition? These police officers that were in the case in this state where a sitting governor were harassed by police officers during the day they were about to impeach him. Did he provoke those police? They fired him, and they used different methods, threat method that would have eliminated lives. So are you calling provocations? So if you are well trained, you know when you bring out guns. You know when you can advise, know when you can caution. All these things is enshrined in the law. So when you do things outside the law, it becomes a lawless. And what Andy is saying is that, like if I can listen carefully, what he's trying to say is that the man have not spoken well. He have not talked about the issues that is affecting the Nigeria police. So for me, we are in a country that everybody think what you do is right. You design your own law. You design the way you want to operate it. You implement your own law by yourself. Because those that are supposed to implement this law, they are law enforcement agency, don't forget. Enforcement agency, they have to enforce the law. So I am not against them carrying gun. Okay. But their behavior while carrying gun is what matters.
Now,
the law provides that they carry the gun. The law also provides the circumstances and situations wherein the police officers can carry the gun. The law has not said, and I stand to be corrected, that police officers directly. Have you seen East West Road, and they were driving against traffic, and there was huge traffic jam. I was on my right lane, I saw them coming, and they were coming against the traffic. I continued to drive on my lane. They got off the vehicle, pulled me out of tires. They said, I saw them coming, and I continued driving. I should have parked police officers. Scrap every one of them. Go home first. Go home. Just go, you reapply.
What then happens when there are no police officers
So
on
it's
ground?
my protocol. I'm going to have to design a stopgap. A stopgap for maybe 1 or 2 years. Get a set of people, and I'm not going to mention it on air, who will come and begin the process of retraining and readmitting people into the police. If you fix the police and you fix the judiciary, corruption and Nigeria is fixed. That is my own thesis, my own hypothesis. The moment you fix that body that is responsible for investigation and prosecution, and you fix the body that is responsible for passing out judgments, everything else that is evil in this country, everything else that is corrupt in this country, we pave into insignificance.
What is wrong with...
This is what you see with benevolent dictators.
What?
Like the president of Rwanda. If you did certain trainings, if you advise, that's why the constitution, after having said don't do this, there is the panacea, there is the punishment that is provided. If you are gay and you are with your partner, there is 14 years imprisonment. There's the control that is always there. So if you train the people and you left them, to go on the streets and whimsically act the way they wanted to act, and nothing was done to them, you didn't have protocols put in place. If you said to yourself, if I live in my office and I left wads of dollars on my table, even if you are a thief, would you pick it?
We have okay, sorry. Go on,
the police has a protocol agency in charge of curtailing their menaces.
Do you know them?
But again,
what have they done? Who do you know that is in the police force that by their own was driving and their guy was behind me, they were blaring siren, bam, bam, bam. I thought as soon as they get there, they are going to say, what are you people doing? They saluted them, they drove by.
Okay, Chief Magnus, let's get to hear you.
On this.
Yes, is it a matter of you heard what Andy said about their behavior now, having protocols on ground to check their behavior. Is it a matter of not having those protocols on ground, or is there another problem we're looking at?
I see emphasis on training, because if you meet the police officers, the officers, even in our houses, we have cane where we caution our children, and that you will tell a child, don't do this. The next minute is going to do that. And that is why we talk about family values. Police officer say that a bad man, before joining the police, he will become a bad police officer.
So you're saying it's more of a mindset. We've had cases, we've seen situations, and
the recruitment process should change. I'll be advocating for that, because you don't have different training for the same set of people. Those that undergone through recruit, their training is quite different from those that went to schools. If you are interacting with senior officers, I have a lot of them as friends. If you interact, you'll be police officers. If you go to their offices and you interact with this officer, you will be loved with police officers. But this rank and files recruit, I'm still doubting the means of recruiting them. I'm still doubting it. It's like when you just, I can't still remember. We have one police college in Norwa, in my area, in Kana local government, Eleme local government area, Tai local government area, sorry. Like my brother was saying, go and visit that.
Go to the one in Ikeja.
Go and
Police
visit
college
that
in Ikeja.
No, I'm not talking about climbing trees.
Yes, Channel Television
and then climbing ropes. We are talking about attitudinal training, a culture that you invite in the people we are going to pay our tax and money. Our taxpayer, we pay them. I pay tax that they used and pay them. They are not generating anything. They only generate money on the road for their organs in the office. That is what is happening. So if you are well trained, you will know that taking money is an offense. Collecting bribe is an offense. Bail is free. Go to police stations.
No, go to Choba this evening now. Drive there this evening.
So it's boiled down to training. I have issue where I went to bail someone. I just called the officers and I explained the issue. He said, Chief, go there and they release that person for me. Because I've talked to a police officer that is well trained. So what happened to those rank and file officers? What happened to those newly recruited police officers? They have the mindset and they are well paid. They are well paid now. They are well paid because their salary is above 100,000. They are well paid.
So you're saying police officers are well paid?
They are well paid. They can't tell me that 100,000 a graduate that is a teacher. How much are they paying them?
We've had various cases when these police officers have come to say it's a problem of not being well paid.
How much are they paying? How much do they pay a graduate that is having master's degree in any of these college of education, all these our secondary schools?
Okay,
how much are they paying them? Someone that is only school sad? Because you carry gun, they are paying you 100 and something thousand, and you say they are not well paid.
Looking at the economic hardship and the many increases in nearly all sectors, would you say that 100,000 naira, in your opinion, which is what you say,
you choose the professions before you join the force?
Is that what it should be?
Do you think it's enough?
It is not enough.
That's not something that is wrong. Should the Oindei, whatever it is that his name is that I just spoken, shouldn't he be speaking to these issues? Why should he be speaking to woke Nigerians as though there is something wrong with being woke?
We just had a case of one of these security personnel shooting a civilian during the field queue. That's in the state of this fuel scarcity that we are having.
Yes.
So I am very sure that is where this particular statement
the issue
is coming
therefore
from.
should be you addressing that police officer and dealing with him and addressing other police officers to say the fact that you are carrying gun is not enough for you to point it directly at an innocent person and shoot him. If you did that going forward, what will happen to you is that beyond our stripping you, we are going to lock you up permanently.
Now we have
these are the kinds of narratives that we hear from the mouth of our spokesperson of police and even the president.
Okay.
The president has not spoken.
All right. We will go on a short break, and when we are back, the conversation will continue.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what the blood.
I have fought a very family.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
Illegally. That is amazing. Honorables, you human
on the point of order.
Honorables,
On the point of
They are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
Thank you so much for staying right here with us on Atlantic Blowout. We have been talking about stories making rounds in Nigeria today alongside our guests who are in the studio with us. But now we'll go on to our next story. Okay, before we take our next story, Andy wanted to say something about the previous story about security and what exactly the people expected to be said, other than saying do not provoke armed personnel to shoot because they have guns. All right, so be careful around them. That was a statement that was made. And Andy wanted to tell us what exactly the people expected to be said by these people.
Yes, the right narrative that should have been pursued by the spokesperson of the Nigerian police force should be that if you did anything against the Nigerian police, you harassed them, you shouted at them, or you committed libel, slander, sedition, or anything, the weight of the law around that thing was going to come on you. So if you found a citizen harassing a man on uniform, there are a plethora of laws that have been provided for that you can use against that person, both in the Police Act and even in our Constitution. What the narrative should be is to say that Nigerians, going forward, we are not going to spare anything. Should you do anything to harass the police officers, whether you are woke, you are unwoke, you are semi-woke, you are fully unwoke, whatever it is, once you did anything, we would ensure that the law, the full weight of the law is brought upon you. However, we must quickly sound this to our men and officers, that should you point your trigger directly at an innocent civilian and shoot him, going forward, the force, the Nigerian state will come against you. We will not only strip you of your uniform, regardless of the fact that you are our kind, we will ensure that you are prosecuted and you are jailed. That is the kind of narrative that we expect to be coming from our officers. Not the one where you say, woke generation. I'm paraphrasing you. Should you ever offend the Nigerian police officers, let us tell you, you can be shot. And if you are shot, nothing will happen. I'm paraphrasing. This is exactly what I just been said. Against what should be said in saner climes and saner society. It annoys me every time when I'm talking about saner society, as though our society is insane. But truly, are we not insane?
All right,
we are not insane, Andy.
Where we are carrying guns everywhere on the streets as though we are fighting war. Where else do you see that happening?
Remember,
are we not insane?
Remember,
where even in the afternoon and at night, police officers are collecting money from people on the street. Are we not insane?
We are
if we are not insane, we are producing crude oil. Yet we are exporting it and purchasing it. Are we not insane?
All right, that's about that particular story, but we are not insane. The presidency on Monday said the ongoing demolition of buildings to pave the way for the Lagos-Calabar highway will not deter foreign investments into Nigeria. It also said the president's son, Seyi Tinubu, a board member of Ogun State-based tile and sanitary ware manufacturer CDK Industries Limited, poses no conflict of interest to the project. The presidency was responding to comments by the flag bearer of the People's Democratic Party in the 2023 elections, Atiku Abubakar, who alleged that the Coastal Highway project is being expedited solely due to the business ties between President Bola Tinubu and Gilbert Kaguri, the owner of the highway contractor, High-Tech Construction Company. In a statement, the presidency said, "We found it strange that Alhaji Atiku could accuse President Tinubu of conflict of interest in the award of Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway to High-Tech Construction Company, which he claimed is owned by Kagri family, because the president's son, Seyi Tinubu, sits on the board of CDK, a tiles manufacturing company based in Sagamu, Ogun State." Now, Iga, let's talk to Royal Chief Magnus first off. Let's hear from you on this particular story.
A president's son being a businessman has not contradicted any law in this country. We are talking about if your father is in government, you should find something doing to distinguish yourself. If your father is in government, you should also be thinking about yourself. So saying being a board member, it has not contradicted any law in this country. So for the candidate of the PDP, last year election, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, to have left numerous areas that he must have criticized this government and talks personally because the son, he is not a businessman. He is a full-time businessman. So if, when he was in government, can he tell Nigerians that when he was in government, there has not been anywhere company that have relationship with or have shares with has dealings with the Nigerian government? Are we talking about the procurement process? Did this contract pass through? Talking about the contractors does not have the capacity? Is it talking about the contractor cannot deliver the contract as specified in the contract law, in the contract terms? So for me, I don't see this criticism as a welcome development. I know politicians must look at where to talk, where to criticize. But for me, with due respect to Atiku Abubakar, you should think of what Nigerians is. For me, and this one, it is not good area, because all of us will be talking that children of big men don't work, they just sit down, they eating Nigerians' money. But I'm even happy that the young man is a businessman and he's into business, not because his father is the president. He has been in business. So criticizing him, are you saying that he should just go and be following his father, as we also criticize that he's been following his father all around? But let us also say that the essence of you being in business is to get contracts. And for you to be closer to the seat of power, and you cannot influence one contract to the company, that means you are a failure to that company. You don't want being a board member. So if you are using his relationship with the presidency or with his father, did he inflate the price of the contract? These are areas that we can look at. Did he inflate the price of the contract? Is the contract not passing through the normal about, you'll be talking about this contract, maybe the previous administration or when he was in government. Look at what we did, and we have East-West Road being constructed, and then people are using the East-West Road. There's no debt. Eleme Apajo Highway, when I was in government, I did this. So why doing this now? Take a leap from what I did when I was in government. When I was the vice president, I did this road, construct this road, and this road, people are using it today. Cite example from what he has done and tell Nigerians that this policy, it is bad. This policy is not a policy that can help Nigerians. Okay. But talking about personality, slicing at the child or the son of, for me, it's not a welcome development. Okay. It's not a welcome development at all.
All right. Do you agree with this? What is
opportunity cost? Put simply, foregone alternative. So the question that Nigerians should be asking is, what is the opportunity cost of this project? On top of my head, I'm seeing an avalanche of opportunity cost. The East-West Road is yet to be completed. I don't see any focus, on it. The Ogoni cleanup that they have been touting almost forever, we don't see what they are doing with it. They have been saying to